Hello, and welcome back to the Villa View Podcast, episode 2. Nice little rhyme.
Very good.
Start the show.
What an excellent start. Well done, Dan.
Thank you.
Dan Bardell, Tom Julian here, discussing all things Villa, and there's an awful lot to chat, isn't there?
There is. I've made extensive notes, as of you, but actually, I want to start with something that I didn't tell you about. I actually took the liberty of making some notes about your first performance on the podcast. So This is called Tom J First Show Review.
Right, okay.
Really inventive name that I've come up with there.
This is like walking in with your boss and you've got to sit down.
This is like a personal development plan.
Are you going to give me a mark out of 5? Or?
I'll give you a mark out of 10, actually.
Oh, wow, okay.
So, right, to start with, for anyone who doesn't know, this is the first time they're tuning in. We did our first episode last week. Obviously, it was Tom Julian's Villa View debut. A mixed bag, I'm going to say.
Right.
So my first point that I've got down here is the James Chester critique based on Football Manager. Very poor. Not just putting his own reputation on the line, but that of the Villa View.
I would like to clarify my position on that. I was wrong. I got a lot of stick on social media.
Yeah.
I got a few those cry laughing faces though, which always makes me happy. So if it was a comedic value, great. Me, James Chester, clean slate this season. Let's go. If he can forgive me, I can forgive him.
See, to me, the crying laughter emoji face means that people think this guy's an idiot.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's fair too.
You've took a positive take on it, so that's up to you. Second one, I've gone for a more positive thing for the second point. Nice style, relaxed, perhaps helped bring the best out of me.
Oh, well, I mean, again, we'll get to the comments, but yeah.
So that's well done for that. That's a good one for you.
Thank you.
Third, organised, came prepared with some talking points. I like that because Matt Lynch, to be honest, when we do shows, he comes with nothing quite a lot of the time.
Well, I mean,
it's nice that you come with some notes.
Thank you.
Fourth one, this is more of a technical, behind-the-scenes issue critique. Made a few audio errors which had to be rectified by an audio expert in the edit. Poor, really, as he only rectified this towards the end. Tom Julian only rectified this towards the end. So we'd like to thank Jake McCormack for his help with the audio last week. Any defence of yourself there?
Oh, well, I won't defend myself, but I will say that Dan is completely no help at all with anything technical on the audio side or the video side. So if we're going to chuck me under the bus, though, thank you to
Jake
McCormack, who helped us out, because that was great. And no problems this time, I hope.
Go as far as to say it probably saved the initial first podcast.
Quite possibly, yeah.
Okay. And this is something that I noticed myself. We introduced you with your strange reason for supporting Aston Villa, and that brought absolutely no response from anyone. We didn't get anyone sending why they support Villa if they had a strange reason.
That's a very good point. Although Detroit Villa followed me on Twitter the other day.
He's moved to Detroit. He's a friend of the Villa View. He was Birmingham based before his big move.
Well, maybe he could recruit some more Michigan based fans.
He has done that, actually, to be fair to him, but they didn't comment.
Okay, well, if you do have a strange reason for supporting Villa, we're always welcome to it. Mine was very boring. Maybe that's the reason to critique you. You maybe killed that segment straight away.
I can't make wine out of water. That was the reason that you gave me.
Fair enough.
So just to summarise, overall solid, 5 out of 10 performance.
5 out of 10?
Mate, I haven't finished yet. Keen to see/hear more from you. The Villa View public seem to welcome you. But like a Matt Lynch penalty, the only way is up.
Wow.
That's what I've gone for. So
it was a nice finish to that.
That was the critique.
I will say there was a lot of warm comments. Thank you very much for the podcast in general, not just for me, but it was nice to hear some positive feedback as well as a couple of critiques. So 5 out of 10 seems a little bit harsh. And I will be remembering that in future, and we'll see how we go.
If you can get a 6 this week, you'll have done well.
Is this going to be a
stern marker?
Is this going to be a grading every week?
I think for the initial month, it's going to have to be.
Okay, a probationary period.
But you did okay. As Brian Little would say.
Right, should we get on? Should we get on with it?
Yeah, we may well have lost listeners early doors again with a long-winded intro. Go, shoot.
Right, well, I think that the Villa View has been producing a load more great content this week.
Thank you.
Obviously, last time we talked about the goalkeepers in the season review. And since the last podcast, we've had Player of the Year and the defenders and midfielders have come out as well. So we touched on defenders last time. Dan, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about midfielders. Mm-hmm. You and Matt generally. How did you feel that podcast went? If we're reviewing everything.
Well, it wasn't a podcast.
Oh no! If you're happy with all your comments.
Yeah, I would always stand by what I say. It'll sometimes turn out to be wrong.
Yeah.
But at the time, when I say it,
Often.
I obviously think it's reasonable.
Who did you call the new Vieira once? That was great.
Remember
that?
Silla.
Yakuba Silla, that was it.
Maybe that was tongue-in-cheek a little.
I don't think it was.
Well,
you tweeted him.
He's on his way back to the Premier League, Silla. Isn't he? Brighton won him, apparently. Yeah, so he'll be one of those players again that wasn't good enough for Villa, but whilst Villa are in the Championship, he may well be in the Premier League. There's a lot of examples of that.
Yeah, there is. Westwood being one of them.
Mm-hmm.
He was talked on the show about whether Villa could have used him, whether they could have used him more. You were, shall we say, I don't know. You were kind of ready to see him go.
No, Matt was. I wouldn't have sold him. He was one of my favourites, to be honest. I wouldn't have got rid of him.
So, didn't you think that was a good price to get rid of him at that point?
Well, I've since been told the $8 million price tag I may have been a little ambitious.
5 million, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think because they'd offered $8 million in the summer, apparently I got confused.
I still think 5 million's a good price.
Well, it is because you've bought him for $1 million. Maybe we paid for him, so you've made a profit on a player that's given you five odd years of service. I just think he's a Premier League player, and while we're in the Championship, I think he could have been useful. I should probably stop clicking this pen because it's probably going to be picked up on the audio. I just think he would have been a useful alternative, and I don't think he's anywhere near as bad as some Villa fans made out. And I think some of the abuse he got from the Villa fans wasn't really acceptable. I mean, I understand over the last few years frustrations amongst the Villa faithful will be high because, quite frankly, we have been rank.
Yeah.
And probably Westwood's been here throughout the time that we've been so bad. But I just think there was a decent player in there, and I think he showed himself, as Matt said, under Sherwood. When you get the right players around him, I think he's a good option. And I think with Lansbury and Horahan, had Villa been playing the right way, with Westwood at the base, not necessarily having to play Jedinak every game, I think we could have got something out of Westwood.
But then you say not playing Jedinak every game, Westwood will want to play every game. There's a choice between the two. For me, he seemed a little bit lightweight. He seemed, when we went down, I thought he didn't really offer us anything going forward. It was all kind of across the field. And his head went down, I felt, a lot. You talked about his passion. To me, he would be one of these guys that maybe we'd miss in a game, and you'd need somebody strong in the centre of midfield to give a bit more fight.
To me, with Westwood, you always noticed when he didn't play because we could barely string 3 or 4 passes together at a time. I just think people saying he was no good going forward, didn't get assists. That's not really what a deep-lying central midfield player is there to do. He's there to keep the ball moving. Like, how many assists does Michael Carrick get?
But that's not the same. Michael Carrick seems to start more manoeuvres for me. Westwood, it would be just kind of passing it away to get rid of the ball. That 78% pass rate, that's fine if they're all 3-4 yard passes. There needs to be more penetration, especially from a deep lying midfielder for me.
That's fair, the penetration side of things. I get where you're coming from there, but when you're playing at Villa Park, I think the fans are so vociferous, and at times they do get on the players' backs very quickly. I think some players perhaps hide, and I think are scared of making mistakes. I think that's definitely the case with Gary Gardner at the moment. And I think you would probably see the same thing as Westwood, with Westwood, sorry. But on the other hand, you could argue that players should be stronger mentally and be able to block things out like that. But I just think there was a place for him.
Yeah. I mean, each to their own. Let us know what you think about that. The video's still on YouTube, obviously, so go and check it out.
It'll be there forever.
Yeah. I did have one thing, and it was mainly about Leandro Bacuna, right?
Yeah.
So Matt at one point said we still don't know his best position.
Yeah.
He's been here 4 years.
I've been here longer, actually.
How do we not know his best position by now?
I think because, other than right back, he's probably never had a sustained run in the team in one position. I think he is the 12th man. He's the utility player that's probably, for whatever reason, become a first choice player, and still is a first choice player. For me, his best position still is right back, but we're quite well stocked at right back, so he's not going to get a run there.
So does he need to go?
It's difficult because I think Bruce likes him. He'll be on a decent wage. He isn't necessarily going to get a Premier League. In fact, I would go as far as say he will definitely not get a Premier League move unless a newly promoted team takes a punt on him. Maybe, like, for example, Huddersfield, who we're going to talk about later. High energy football. He is more of a high energy player, Bacuna. I think that's why he's been playing in central midfield, to offer something different, offer a bit of legs if you will. So perhaps he could get a move somewhere like that. It could be a case of, is he a bit stale at Villa, and that would be fair. But you could say that about a number of players. I think what you say is true. Maybe we should know his best position by now. But you do need players that can fill in multiple positions in the squad. Every team will have someone who is that utility man. And for me, in the Championship, are we going to get a better utility man than Leandro Bacuna? I'm not sure.
I would say we are. I think if you're settling for Leandro Bacuna, then we're not at the stage where we're pushing on to be back in the Premier League. That would be my opinion. I think it was interesting watching the video. There was a lot of kind of players like that in our midfield where
Matt made a valid point, to be fair.
Where you've got such an array of midfielders there, but at some point we need to cull a few to bring in some better players and to give us the quality that's going to push on and get us back to the Premier League.
Yeah, there's a player gone from the under-23s who I'm quite disappointed to see leave, because I always quite like the look of him, and I don't think he's actually gone anywhere yet. But Rory Hale, a young midfielder coming through, had a bit of something about him. I always thought put himself about, was kind of an all-round midfield player. I think one of the things that I think is the problem with players like Bacuna and midfielders in general, and when we spoke to Ian Taylor, this is what he said, central midfield players, they get away with it. Nowadays, in his day, he had to do both.
Right.
He had to defend and he had to attack. He was box to box. There's not enough players like that nowadays. You're either a defensive midfielder or you're an attacking midfielder. And I personally don't get that. Like, we're talking about Lansbury and we're saying, oh, well, Bruce has played him as this deep midfielder, but he should have the energy to be the deep midfielder, but he can also go forward. So there needs to be a bit of flexibility. But Ian Taylor said it, and it is true. Midfielders get away with it nowadays.
Do you think that's a formational change over the years, though, rather than the quality of player?
I don't know what it is. Because Lansbury could do that job. Lansbury could do the job that Ian Taylor used to do for Villa, and he's someone that we've never particularly replaced, because apart from Milner, I don't remember us ever having an array of goals coming from midfield. Maybe times do change, but that's something to me that doesn't necessarily need to. You should be able to play with a box-to-box central midfielder if you've got an orthodox defensive midfielder in the team, like we do with Jedinak.
You've mentioned one young player that's left the club, one young player that might get a little bit more of a run next year, Andre Green.
Yeah.
Exciting, right? Do you think he is one that we'll see a good pre-season from and then he'll be in from the start? Or do you think, again, he's going to be kind of just given a little bit of a small run each week until he's ready?
To me, when he was in the team and we had a good spell with him in the side before he picked up a lot of niggly injuries towards the end of the season, he did enough to warrant being the first choice left midfield, because he was exciting and he was something different. He can carry the ball. He was very good defensively for a young player as well, which is always good to see with wingers helping out the fullback, and I think that helps. Obviously, we've got a solid left back in Neil Taylor, but even Neil Taylor would tell you that having a midfielder in front of you that tracks back, that helps. He's just something different. How he didn't score, in his run in the team, I don't know. He must have hit the woodwork 3 times, but he's someone who I really think can push on next season. He's definitely got a natural ability, and I think he seems to have the right attitude as well. So he's someone that I'm excited to see more of him next season. So
the midfield is part of the squad review. When strikers coming out?
It's a good question, because we haven't really recorded it. Well, I say we haven't recorded it.
Little peek behind the curtain there.
All, yeah. No recording at the moment. It's planned this week, so I imagine it'll be out towards the weekend, probably.
Okay.
Rolinson turns things around quite quickly.
One video that is out is the Player of the Year, and you had some comments on that, right? You got some comments on that.
Yeah. Well, Matt stitched us up a bit, actually, I thought, because I think he used the
You're
phrase...
stitching him up by him not being here. So
I can't remember whether I used the phrase when I did the initial video nominating the 4 players. So for those that didn't watch, the 4 nominations for the Villa View Player of the Year were Jonathan Codger, James Chester, Jedinak, and Nathan Baker, who, to be honest, we had a lot of people ask why Alan Hutton wasn't in there, and that was my fault, to be fair. I said that Baker was more consistent over the course of the whole season, whereas I thought Alan Hutton was only good from the end of January
I'd agree with
onwards. So shout out to Alan Hutton, though. He did do very well. But Jonathan Codger won, and I think Matt in the video revealing who'd won described us as a one-man team. And then who was it who came back and said that, I think Cyberdon Blue, another friend of the Villa View, he comments on all our videos on YouTube, and we really appreciate his feedback, and he is an avid watcher and now maybe listener with the podcast as well. He said Codger had a few games where he did nothing, which is a fair a fair comment, but most of the goals he scored, he's conjuring something out of nothing, to be fair to him. And when you're not getting a lot of service as a striker playing on your own a lot of the time, you probably are going to have bad games. But I see the point that he's making. We were nowhere near a one-man team because obviously we've nominated 3 defensive players in Jedinak, Chester and Baker, who, yes, Codger scored the goals to win us a game 1-0 or 2-0 or whatever, but without the defence playing the way they did and keeping those clean sheets, the goal isn't going to get you 3 points. So I do think that's fair. Christian Middleton said the same kind of thing as well, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt in Codger, his influence and his role in this season was crucial. I think there was a Villa View blog post which kind of tallied up Codger's goals and his assists and how important he was into not only kind of getting us to mid-table but keeping us afloat at times where our defence wasn't as strong. But like you say, part of Steve Bruce's philosophy is being strong at the back, and that's why these defensive players were in the mix as well. I think Jedinak's been absolutely brilliant. Like I say, kind of with Westwood, he's so strong in there. He gives us another kind of a real resilience that maybe we wouldn't have otherwise. And obviously James Chester's one of the best players I've ever seen at Villa Park.
Wow.
So
you've always been a big fan, big advocate of him.
Always supported him, and yeah. So
a point you make there, well, you didn't really make the point, but it just came into my head as you said it.
Right.
If you're playing Westwood and Jedinak as a 2, which we did quite often before Westwood departed, then you are probably asking for trouble because those 2 don't complement each other.
Oh yeah,
in midfield. Whereas, as I said before, you've got Westwood, Cleverley, and Delph. They all do something that the other one can't do. So that's not necessarily Westwood or Jedinak's fault. That's just a combination that isn't going to work on paper and won't work on the pitch either.
Yeah, it's fair, but we don't have the quality of Cleverley and Delph to rely on either. So
in a championship, Horahan and Lansbury could do the equivalent job. You would think if we play more with the shackles off.
Yeah,
you would think.
That's it. Let's talk about Monday night.
Yeah.
About Monday afternoon.
I was trying to think what happened Monday night.
You and I went out, do you not remember? The Championship playoff final. Huddersfield up to the Premier League. Congratulations to them. What an amazing achievement, first of all.
Yeah.
And what a great season for them.
Yeah, well done to them. When we played them at Villa Park early on in the season, we drew 1-1 with them. They scored a very, very fortunate late goal to draw that game 1-1. Second half, they completely outplayed us. Mm-hmm. They played the high press. They played nice football. It just goes to show sometimes if you take a risk and you do something different, you'll be rewarded, and that's what people have been saying since Monday's playoff final. I don't know whether you watched any of it. Did you see the Patrick Stewart thing before the game? He's a big Huddersfield fan.
Yeah, I did.
The way he was talking about the players and the manager, I just sat there and thought, I wish I could come on the Villa View and talk about my team like that. Wouldn't it be great to talk like that? They deserve to get there. They've been one of the better teams in the Championship. They were up with Brighton and Newcastle for most of the season. They haven't got a huge budget, but the manager's bought players that suit what he wants to do. He's got a philosophy, and he's bought players that can do the job that he wants to do. That's what Steve Bruce needs to do. He needs to get a philosophy and then find the players to play within that philosophy. They're really good. They've got some really good players. Like Kachunga is a good player. Jonathan Hogg, ex-Villa Academy, played for Villa a few times. I actually thought he was very good when he did play for Villa. Perhaps let go too soon. That's now another player that didn't make it at Villa, but Jonathan Hogg will be playing the Premier League next season.
I thought Jonathan Hogg was actually lucky not to get sent off. He got booked fairly early, and then there was a couple of rash tackles where he just stopped the play. It wasn't as... It was premeditated, and I thought if he hadn't been on a yellow, he'd have picked up another.
Neither.
But all credit to them. And I saw that their chairman has said, if you had a season ticket in 2009, you'll have a season ticket for the Premier League for £100.
Wow,
that's quality, isn't it?
That is good. That's an unbelievable.
He seems like a top owner and really has the club at the heart, which. Hopefully Villa, that's happening at Villa.
Villa are headed in the right direction. I mean, I don't think you're going to see Villa make offers like that. I'd be biting your hand off if I could get my season ticket.
Bit of a different story though, isn't it, Huddersfield and Villa?
Huddersfield seem very switched on behind the scenes as well. It's good when you can marry up the two, as Huddersfield are. They've got the right manager playing in a certain way, certain philosophy, and then behind the scenes everything's coming together as well. So it's a good mix. I'll stick my neck on the line and say I think they'll do well next season.
I'm going to have to take that bottle off you in a minute. You keep playing with it.
Sorry. Stop now. I was debating whether to have another sip, but I'm always talking.
Well, you have another sip and I'm going to ask you another question.
Go on then.
Huddersfield go up, obviously, alongside Brighton and Newcastle.
Yeah.
What does that mean for Villa? Are you happy with the teams that stay down? Obviously, Fulham, Sheffield Wednesday, and now Reading. Is that a good blend, or how do you see where are Villa in the favourites for Premier League status now?
Well, we were the favourites before everything's decided. I'm not sure what's happened since. You've got to say if Reading hold on to Stam and keep the players, they'll probably finish somewhere around where they finished this season. I think they finished third in the end, and saying they finishes third seems to never go up.
Yeah,
that seems to be a thing.
It's a standard, yeah.
With the playoffs, Sheffield Wednesday, they seem like they're perennial. Well, we got close, but we didn't quite make it because that's 2 seasons in a row now where they haven't quite got over the line. But again, if they hold on to their players, hold on to their manager, you'd expect them to be there or thereabouts because they've got, again, a certain way of playing. The manager's got the players that he wants there, so you'd expect them to be up there. It's really difficult to say. I don't think Sunderland and Hull will be in a great state unless they spend an awful lot of money. But as we saw last season, if you're in a mess and you spend a load of money, that doesn't necessarily equal top 6.
Yeah.
Top 6 finish. So Sunderland and Hull I don't see being anywhere. I can't even remember. Middlesbrough
and Fulham.
Well, Middlesbrough were a championship side.
Yep.
Playing in the Premier League for a season. So again, it depends what they do with the manager. We don't know who's going in there. Sunderland, if they get Gary Monk. They get
Gary Monk.
If they get Gary Monk in, then obviously he's shown he's a decent manager. Although again, he didn't quite get over the line with Leeds, and they might do something. There's a lot of jobs available at the moment around European football.
Yeah, I think I said last week I thought Fulham were our biggest threat. I think they're the team that are most likely to get raided for their quality players. Sessegnon says he wants to stay, I believe, but I mean,
I've seen him linked with Tottenham.
Yeah, I think if he got a Premier League move, he'd be foolish to turn it down.
Depends where he is. You don't want to move too quickly. That's what a lot of players do. You move too quickly.
No, but you're linked with somebody who's like Spurs.
Well, Spurs is the right place.
Spurs would be brilliant, but whether he'd get in there or not is another question. But one of the kind of top 10 teams, I think, would suit him down to the ground. They've got some great players, so yeah, it remains to be seen whether they can hold that team together or not. I think Villa should be confident going into next year. I think we can definitely handle any of the teams that came down. They, to me, feel less of a threat than the 3 that stayed.
Yeah, I think Fulham have got the best manager, Jokanovic. Did it at Watford, and he's done it with Fulham as well. Although obviously they didn't go up, but they were very close. And to me, they played probably the best football in the league. And when I went to Craven Cottage earlier in the season, I was very impressed with their wide play. And that Tom Kearney's a good player.
Yes.
Much will depend on whether they hold onto him because he's their captain, he's their talisman.
Yep.
So much will depend on whether they manage to hold onto him. I don't know. It's hard to know with Villa until I see what we do in the summer, who we ship out and who we get in. You'd say on paper now the squad's strong, but we saw towards the end of the season that isn't enough. So there's something missing. I'm very, very confident with what we're doing behind the scenes at the moment. But I want to be 100% convinced by Bruce, and I'm by no means a Bruce out. I want to give us time. I want some stability, but I'm yet to be 100% convinced by Bruce and what he's trying to do.
Where is your first priority? We got this in one of the comments. We will come in onto the comments shortly, but where's your first priority for Villa that you've got to strengthen? Which position?
They've got to get. We spoke about it in detail last week, so it's probably best not to speak about it again. But they've got to get the goalkeeper.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
The goalkeeper, right?
Yeah,
because that resonates around the rest of the side. It filters down, so the goalkeeper decision has to be right. The Johnston links have all gone quite quiet, although players are obviously all on holiday at the moment. That's a position that needs sorting, and to me, we're a little light, perhaps in quality in central midfield. If we picked up a couple of injuries, we haven't got the quality. Gardner, I'm not sure he's going to make it with Villa. I'd like him to.
Yeah,
I think he's a nice guy, cares about Villa. But I think a bit like Westwood, confidence is on the floor, and it's going to take something special to pick that back up.
Do you think Villa learned a little bit last year about how hard the Championship is in terms of the amount of games and just the the highs and the lows, the lulls, and then the positive results that follow on. There is a different way to play in the Championship. It's more of a squad game than perhaps the Premier League. Would you say that's right?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, if we haven't learned something, there's a big problem, because I don't want to be finishing 13th again.
Yeah.
I think we need to. What the biggest thing for Villa for me is that Steve Bruce and Aston Villa, they need to find a balance. He has sorted the defence out, but having that solid defence has come at the expense of the midfield. Because you've got Codger, who was still doing it up front, but the midfield wasn't right. People were saying Westwood, blah blah blah. He's the problem, but then we replaced Westwood with two midfielders that had done very well in the Championship previously, in Horan and Lansbury. Yet the midfield was still the problem. So to me, they've got to get that midfield right. If they don't get the midfield right, then it will be another season of mediocrity.
All sounds fair. Should we get on to some comments?
Why not?
Right, go on. You start us off. What's your favourite comment that you've seen? I'm going to get up a couple here. We've got some great questions all through social media, and you can email the questions as well, can't you, to contact@thevillaview?
Yeah, I think that's
right?
That's the email address, yeah. One I've just noticed here is Max Roberts saying, like to confirm, I would send Dan to the shop now. I don't look like Shrek. Good first episode. Thanks for saying it's a good first episode, but okay, bodily now he may not look like Shrek, but that face is going to still need some work.
I feel like this is the Max Roberts podcast. I'm sure we talked about his body
He's a big
transformation.
Well, that's why he's commented, isn't he? He's a big friend of the channel. Obviously a fan cams regular.
I've got a question here. Oh, actually, there was a fair few questions. I'm sure we'll come on to this again later as the pre-season starts. But Steve Bruce as manager, there seems to be an awful lot of uncertainty whether, one, people want him, and two, whether he's going to stay, whether you want him or not. For you, or for me, I'm going to answer for me first, because I don't need to answer for you. You can answer for yourself. I think he should stay. I said this last week. I like what he did in terms of solidifying us. I think you're right. I think the midfield and the creativity was the cost. But for me, I was really worried about last season, and he brought a stability there that I didn't see in other places. There were a couple of other managers I would have liked, but he has earned my trust. But I did write down a couple of replacements just in case.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anyone.
Gary Monk, no? You wouldn't want him.
The thing that I always come back to with Bruce is he's proven he's got more promotions from the Championship than anyone else. Monk really, I know he's manager. I can't say his name, which is a bit
Gary
of a problem.
Monk.
So he's the last thing I know for us to a point, because I can't say his name. So that's obviously a problem. He hasn't. I know his managerial career is obviously way shorter than Steve Bruce's, but he hasn't proved anything. All he proved to me last season was that they didn't have enough bottle leads to get into the playoffs. They did bottle it for me, because they were up there all season, and they had one of the better strikers in the league, Chris Wood, who was banging them in. But they also had a decent defence. Kyle Bartley had a very good season. So to me, they fell away. Sheffield Wednesday were the ones that looked like they were going to fall away, and they didn't, whereas Leeds did. They kind of talked the talk, Leeds, but in the end they didn't walk the walk, and that would worry me with Monk. Why can't I say his name?
Gary Monk.
It's such a simple word. Yeah, I can't say his name. I should call him Gary. Gary didn't get them over the line.
I've got a couple of others for you that are linked with Crystal Palace. Claudio Ranieri.
Villa?
Yeah.
Nah.
Why not?
Because what he did at Leicester, he should just retire now.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
It's not going to be bettered.
I'm just playing devil's advocate with you now.
Devil's advocate.
Oh, goodness. we're great options for a podcast here, aren't we?
Nah, he wouldn't come anyway. He wouldn't come to Villa anyway. And Villa is
Why not? Why wouldn't he?
Because I imagine he'll get a Prem offer.
I'm going to take this off you as well.
I imagine he'll get a Prem offer.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Where's the offer coming from there?
Watford, maybe?
Yeah. He says he wants one more moment of magic, doesn't he? The way he speaks is just... you've just got to love him.
Yeah, I do. Everyone
whether you love him at your club or not is a different matter.
Everyone loves him.
What about Roy Hodgson?
No way. Dinosaur. And people say Steve Bruce is
I was going to say
dinosaur.
that, yeah.
If anything ever came before dinosaurs, then Roy Hodgson is that. He ruined my summer last summer. Villa were awful, and I was like, right, it's been such a terrible season. I'm now going to pin all my hopes on England. We beat Germany in the lead up to the Euros, and I was like, right, we have a team here. We have a good side, good young, vibrant side. And then Roy Hodgson decided to move away from all that he did in those build-up games and put Wayne Rooney back in. And England were arguably as bad as watching Villa. No, don't want him. I find it difficult to talk about who I would like as manager because I feel like that's not fair.
Yeah, I think
Steve Bruce. I don't
yeah.
like doing it. It's almost like I feel like if I was thinking about getting another girlfriend behind my wife's back, that's how I feel talking about Steve, another manager instead of Steve Bruce. I don't think it's fair on Steve.
Well, then we best stop talking about that now before you get carried away. This is a good little comment here.
Cyberdon again.
I think Tom was superb and slots into the role like a hand into a velvet glove. Thank you, Cyberdon Blue. He brought Dan out of his shell in his shy corner. How do you feel about that?
Shy corner.
Oh, dear. And made the whole thing float. So, essentially, he would be a golden nugget to add to the Villa View team.
I've been described as a lot of things in my life. Shy has never particularly been one of them.
I am the glue that holds this podcast together.
30 days, Tom. To be honest,
that's better than a 5 out of 10.
You could get your P45 and not be here next week. I'll do it on my own.
Well, we'll see. What about this one? So this is more Bruce.
Callum Warner.
Callum Warner saying,
It's a style of football, really, isn't it? He's not happy with the style of football. What he says actually is true there about we play a dangerous game because we did have a run of 1-0s, dodgy 1-0 win, which at the time I was happy with because it stabilised us and I was worried about us going down at the time. But it is a dangerous game because teams did sometimes miss chances late on in the game. We were too defensive, and that goes back to what we were saying before of finding a balance.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, this is a good one. Who is your favourite Villa player?
Currently or ever?
Well, I've got both written down.
Okay. I've seen one of your ones for favourite ever.
Do you not love it?
And that is a terrible shout again. I'm going to put yourself in big trouble.
No, I've got that. You came in at this point. I was gonna write a few down.
No,
go on, right? You go first.
You do yours first.
Right. So currently, Jednak is one of my favourite players. Again, I like the way that he's made us so much stronger, and that is a lot better. When I was a kid coming through, Savo Milosevic was. I just loved the way he played. I thought it was fun.
No.
I thought
say ever.
Okay.
Big shout.
Yeah. Well, I would go in my lifetime of supporting Villa.
You're a bit younger than me, aren't you?
Yeah.
A little bit.
I mean, you can see on the camera. But it was in the same era as kind of Dwight York, and I loved those kind of players. Paul Merson was another one. I love these creative players. A lot like me on the five-a-side pitch. I like creating a chance out of nowhere.
Savo was better than he gets credit for. Obviously, you were younger than me. I was very young when Savo played. But when we talked to Brian at Villa Park, he loved Savo, and he always felt the need to defend him because he did do a good job. Not so much when he was spitting at Villa fans at Ewood Park.
Yeah.
In his first few seasons, he was better than he got credit for.
Yeah.
A lot of assists for York. And I don't think Dwight York would have been able to do what Dwight York did without Savo in those first 2 seasons.
I will say, actually, I didn't have it written down, but Igo Ekiog was one of my favourite players as well. Again, him and Gareth Southgate was such an awesome partnership, and that he was brilliant to watch.
Yeah, he was an absolute monster.
Who have you got then on your list, current and former?
Well, current. I said last week, Chester's my current favourite player. I think he's exactly what Villa need, exactly the kind of player Villa need, and the kind of player I'd like us to sign more players with his attitude and ability. I do also have a soft spot for Grealish and Baker. I like academy players who come through, so obviously they have an affiliation with the club. Everyone knows, favourite player, Ian Taylor. Always has been, always will be.
This is a great question for you, and probably for Matt. We'll get him to answer this one on Twitter. Which Villa legend would you like to interview for the Villa View, and why?
Well, for those wondering why we haven't had one for a while, it's very, very difficult to sort out. We've spoke to a few people who have said they will do it. We just haven't managed to lock down a date. We haven't managed to lock down dates for them yet, but we're hopeful that in the next few months we'll be able to get some soon. I'm not going to say whether any of these on the list of people that we've spoken to, but I'd like to speak to Melberg. I've put Merson down as well, Larson, Barry. They're the ones I'd like to speak to. I think I've already spoken to the three that I loved as a kid, Brian, John and Ian. We've already spoken to them. So for me, that was like the dream start of the first people to interview, those three.
Yeah,
that's a dream. I'd like to speak to some people a bit more recently. Petrov another one. I have met him before. Really, really nice bloke, top man. Like, was unbelievable with me when I met him. Really, really nice guy. People like that, really. Probably the people that played under Martin O'Neill. I'd probably quite like to speak to Martin O'Neill. I'm not a massive fan of him. Now he's irritated me the way he left, and I'll never forgive him for the way he left. But I'd happily sit down and talk to him about the reasons, and maybe I could.
That'd be great.
Forgive him if he explained to me, but he annoyed me.
That question was from Rob Henry, I should mention. We'll definitely get Matt to answer that. If I was to
I can answer it for you. He'll say Malberg and Larson.
Yeah?
Yeah, 100%.
All right. We'll fact check those because we know Dan has been wrong in the past. For me, I had Gareth Barry, I had Paul Merson because I think he'd just be fascinating.
Yeah.
And Dion Dublin, who also had a spell at my hometown, Cambridge United.
Yeah, he's another good one.
I think he'd be interested as well.
There's loads, to be honest.
Yeah.
Anyone. If we could get Sasa Sercic or Ulysses de la Cruz on the phone and I'd speak to them. Anyone who's played for Villa.
Yeah.
I'd like to speak to be fair.
Make sure you let us know who you'd like the Villa View to interview. Again, no promises because, as Dan says, it's as hard as...
We've had a lot of suggestions on social media.
Yeah.
I've got like a thing down here. Have you ever had like a cult player that you just liked for no reason? There's no real reason why you should like him. He wasn't that great, but you just liked him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry. Steve Staunton...
Well, no, but he was good.
Yeah, but he was all right.
He was good.
He was good for Villa, but in the grand scheme of things.
Not a dodgy one like a Dela Cruz or someone like that you just had a soft spot for. You just liked them.
Put me on the spot here in a second.
So you have a think and I say mine.
Yeah, go on, you say yours.
Marlon Harewood.
Yeah?
I just liked Big Marlon. Only legends can go to the corner flag at the Emirates in the 50th minute or 60th minute and try and kick the ball in the corner flag with half an hour of the game left to play because Villa are winning. It takes a certain type of character.
It's very bold
to do that. I just liked the way he always tried to G up the fans, even though he wasn't that great. And he did score some good goals in that one season, to be fair. I think he only started one game but scored 5 goals.
Do you know what? I always thought Marlon Harewood would be a good buy kind of 3 or 4 years earlier. I liked him as a forward at Reading, I think it was, and he moved to a few places and scored some big goals.
So you got to fact check your Reading there. No way did he play for Reading.
He didn't play for Reading?
Nah, West Ham.
He played for West Ham, definitely.
Nah, no, Reading. He scored against Reading.
All right, I'm going to get this up.
I'm not having that.
This isn't great podcasting.
I'm not having it. Although when Marlon Brando came up on Google there.
Marlon Harewood in his Villa shirt. Look how chunky he is.
I thought he had a captain's armband on there.
Yeah. Nottingham Forest, Ipswich,
there's no
West Ham, Villa. Oh, goodness. He's had a few clubs.
He has had a lot of clubs. I apologise on behalf of Tom.
All right, well, 1-1. 1-0 in terrible
If
errors.
you've got a player who you liked for no reason, like Marlon Harewood, a cult hero, then please do let us know in the comments below. I like hearing stuff like that.
Sure.
I realise you can barely see me on the video version because I'm slouched so low down.
Slumping down
on my chair.
Is it embarrassment from working with me?
Sometimes.
That's fair. We've got loads of comments. We can't get through them all. That's not a comment anymore. No. I just wanted to go through a few bits of news with you.
Shoot.
If that's all right. Just your opinion, quickfire opinion on us potentially signing Huddersfield loanee Aaron Mooy.
I thought he looked good yesterday.
Yeah, he was from Man City, so they're potentially going to loan him out again. Pep Guardiola says he wants to see him, Mooy, with a full pre-season. Would you fancy him?
I would, but he won't come to Villa.
You don't think?
He'll go to Huddersfield.
Yeah.
It'd make complete sense for him to have a season in the Premier League with the team he's just been at.
Makes sense to me. Carl's heel. Cut price move to Deportivo. What do you say? Get rid, keep?
I've seen something today in the Birmingham Mail where they've said that Villa want quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
Not a massive amount, but Villa want a price that people aren't going to pay. So there needs to be some middle ground.
Yep.
Found if someone's not going to pay us, I'd say maybe 4 million for him, keep him, because I think he could be useful. He needs something different to what we have. I'd be happy for him to stay, but I don't think he wants to stay.
Do you think?
I suppose you've got to have someone who wants to be there.
Yeah, it's a bit like the Galini situation, isn't it? If they don't want to be there. I agree. I don't think we saw enough of him, but if he doesn't want to play, then fine. And the last one, Grant Hanley, the centre back, is linked with Villa. He's at Newcastle at the moment, and talk of coming down if people will cut his wages. To me, it seems like a strange one for Villa because, as we all know, James Chester is one of Villa's greatest players, and we seem to be all right at centre back.
If we're going to, we will bring a centre back in without a doubt. We probably need to because after Chester and Baker, and I think Elphick and Richards will probably not be there.
Richards certainly won't.
Well, Richards has said Bruce thinks he's a centre back. If we're going to bring a centre back in, I'd like to bring someone in who's better than Baker, and I don't know whether Grant Hanley is better than Baker. I mean, he wasn't getting in the Newcastle side above a player, Kieran Clark, who we let go
He's certainly more expensive than Baker as well. You know?
Yeah. I think Alex Bruce will come still. I said it last week. I still think we'll end up with him as a number 4 centre-back. It's just that third space. If we don't get rid of Elphick, it'll be Elphick. But we will need a centre-back. I'd just like to see, the only way you improve is if you buy people that are better than what's already in your first team. And to me, Grant Hanley probably isn't better than Nathan Baker.
Suits me. That's my news.
I've got one piece of news.
Go on.
Arsene Wenger signing a new contract is going to bode well for Steve Bruce, apparently.
I read this as well.
According to the Birmingham Mail, because he's got a good relationship with Wenger and he wants to he's taken people on loan previously at Birmingham and at Hull, so I've had a little think who we could possibly get on loan from Arsenal. I don't think Sanchez or Ozil will be available. So one that stood out to me was their third choice goalkeeper, Emiliano Martinez.
Right.
He's been on loan at Wolves previously, Argentinian goalkeeper. If we don't get Johnston, if we don't manage to get it over the line with Johnston, he struck me as someone that we may go for as another short-term fix. A goalkeeper, and then I've wrote down 3 players that I don't really know anything about. Rene Adelaide, Chuba Akpom, and John Terrell, who was at Birmingham a couple of seasons ago. They're all on Arsenal's books and will probably get loaned out. Again, I know the Blues fans really liked Terrell. They thought he was a really good player.
It's an interesting point, isn't it, that one manager keeping his job is better for a completely different club. And I think you're right. I think they obviously, Bruce and Wenger also obviously have a relationship there. And if we could take some of the quality youngsters that there are at Arsenal, which there always are, I don't want to be. The Championship is such a hard division. I don't want to be getting somebody who's not contributing, you know. But if we can pick up some quality there, then why not? Yeah.
None of those names scream out they're going to make the world of difference to Villa.
No.
To me, if we're going to take a young player on, I mean, Martinez is relatively experienced now, but if we're going to take one of their loan players, like for example Chuba Akpom, I'd rather we played Hepburn Murphy and Keenan Davies.
Yeah.
Our own players.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
In my book.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Is that it? We're done?
I think so. That's 40 minutes already. Would you believe it?
I know, time flies when you're having fun.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for listening or watching, whatever you've done. And make sure you keep commenting and subscribing to all the Villa View content. There's lots out there, isn't there?
Yeah, we want to know what works with this podcast, what doesn't work. If you'd like to see the back of Tom Julian, then let us know in the comments.
Sure. Any improvement on 5 out of 10 would be great. I look forward to my rating next week.
I'll give you one next week, but I'll warn you, it's around the 5 mark.
Is that the Marlon Harewood problem?
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, keep watching, keep listening. Thank you very much.
See you next week.
If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.